Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports podcast with me, Lucia. Third game in a row of overtime with the Lakers. I mean, come on. Can't they just win in regulation? And by the way that the game was going the other night, yesterday, they were going to head to a fourth. I mean, LeBron's in his 36th year. He needs to slow down. He needs to just slow down, and the team needs to rally behind him. Although that is something with LeBron James teams that never really gets discussed about him. They're always waiting around to see what he does with the ball. They're never proactively trying to get the ball from him to take over. And that's something that a lot of LeBron James teams have always suffered by, the fact that they're waiting for LeBron to do something. And they don't know whether he's gonna pass it or shoot it. They just don't know. And I know his whole genius is he makes the right play to make, but at some point that needs to be called out. It needs to be called out that he has four guys on the floor just waiting for him. Sometimes when he's got the ball, I'm like, what is he going to do? And I just see statues around. And I'm like, he needs to work in the triangle offense or something like that. Something where there's a lot of ball movement. That's why I think a coach like Phil Jackson would have been great for him. Because he needs to learn how to work within ball movement, like Kobe, like MJ. Kobe and MJ gave up the ball to have shots. That the whole aspect of them being selfish, the best shot from them was a better shot than from anybody else. That's what they thought they had. Anyway, talking about LeBron, he leads the way in the All-Star votes, because that's happening. And if he decides to play, because he should decide to play, he should play. Last time I checked, he was the assistant head of the Players Association, and he didn't want it. It's his league. If he doesn't want something, it's not going to happen. So clearly this is all just a media scam from him. And in talking about scams, fantasy basketball is a scam because I'm trash at it. I need to learn more about fantasy. Honestly, I do. I think that if I learn more about fantasy, I could rock it because I can create really good teams. I just don't know how to. So yeah, I am going to learn how to create more teams and a better way of doing it. So look out next year of my fantasy basketball. Joel Embiid. Is he a MVP? I think he is. I genuinely think that it's Joel Embiid's time to win MVP. And it's going to be great when he wins the MVP because he deserves it. He truly does. He works his ass off. And I think the only team in the East that is going to compete with the Nets are the 76ers. Joel Embiid is playing amazingly. Ben Simmons is playing Defensive Player of the Year type numbers. Yeah. It's incredible to see what happens when two players are given a really good coach in Doc Rivers. He's a really good coach. He's not up there with Phil Jackson and Popovich, but he's a really good coach. The New York Knicks. Are they making a playoff push? I think that they are. Currently they're ninth in the East, which would put them in the play-in tournament. And I think with the return of Derrick Rose, it can only go higher. I think the Knicks are finally getting it right. I know we've all been waiting for the Knicks to finally get something right. I think they are. I think that they are incredibly I think that they have an incredible chance to make the playoffs. They're going to lose in the first round, but hey, making the playoffs for the Knicks would be amazing. A must-read is the Devin Booker story on ESPN. I will link it down below in the description for you. It's incredible just knowing what Devin Booker goes through. He's got a sibling that has a learning disorder and like physical disorder as well. So it's interesting to see something from his point of view. NYC are opening to fans in the stands at 10%. So that means that the Barclays Centre the Barclays and the Madison Square Garden from February 23rd is going to have about 2,000 fans in the stands. At Yankee Stadium and the Met Stadium, it's about 5,000. They're hoping by opening day that is more. From Dr. Fauci, they said that the vaccine should be readily available, and that doesn't mean that everyone's going to be vaccinated. Just putting it out there, it's going to be readily available and more available to everybody else from about April. So hopefully next season, I think that we're going to be back to full people in the stands. I think that next season, if it doesn't happen next season, it's never going to happen. But by the time the playoffs happen for the basketball, I think that there's going to be a whole lot of people in the stands, which is going to be fun. Hopefully, Gavin Newsom decides to open up the Staples Center, because I'd love to see fans in the stands there. Game of the week: the Nuggets versus the Lakers. We'll see the Joker and Jamal Murray versus AD and LeBron. There's just a replay from the Western Conference Finals, which was incredible, and they were absolutely amazing. So yeah, look forward to that game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this all NBA edition of Let's Talk Sports podcast. I will be discussing further next a little bit more of NFL news, trades, and all that type of stuff. I'm going to be, as I said before the Super Bowl, I am going to be focusing a lot more on NBA, and I will just be putting in like some major storylines in terms of NFL. So that is all for this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports podcast with Ligia. I'll catch you all next week. Bye.